3, 2, 1, let's go. All right, welcome to the stream. This is episode 2, November 4th. Surrender, the last discussion Peasants, or the first discussion of Peasants, actually. And I am joined with Johnny G, and we got a special guest. It's Chris Nye!
Yeah.
Who a lot of people know. I mean, you're kind of like, I'd say, one of the biggest community members. And you got the Underspire. And we're going to be talking about that for sure. But how's everyone doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Doing good. Living the dream.
Living the dream.
Excellent. So, yeah, I figure we'll start off this episode with what has everyone been up to the last couple of weeks involving their conquest?
Well, I'm painting a bunch of models, trying to get them ready for some Underspire battle reports. I don't like to ever do unpainted models in my battle reports. And I've been painting for the tabletop simulator mod. So that's pretty much all I do as far as conquest is crank out models.
Right. Yeah. So what's this battle report going to be?
This is the entire the Underspire campaign that I wrote. I'm doing all the battles and the skirmish battles. And I'm basically going to do the report for them. Unfortunately, I won't be doing them with other people probably because of, Corona 2020. But I'll be doing something similar to like take pictures and then narrate the whole thing. And it'll be a mixture of narrative plus tactics and math and all the stuff combined, I guess.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and if you haven't seen them, I highly recommend. They're very good so far.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what have you been up to, Johnny?
So I'm almost assembled all the Spire stuff that I've owned. That I own. Maybe I should be up to almost 2,500 points, maybe. And I'm starting a Dwegam army now. I just got the holiday bundle, the 2-pack, the version 2 or whatever. So, and I'll get started on that this weekend.
Nice. For me, I got my first 1K point battle. It's my first non-starter box battle. I had it with Josh, who was nice enough to invite me to his garage because he lives 15 minutes away. And we did the kill point scenario, and it ended up being a draw. I ended up killing his warlord, even though he killed more of my stuff. So that was a lot of fun. What I really like about playing with Josh is he is such he has a very good memory for the rules. Like whenever I start a new game, I'm always teaching the people how to play the game, and it's always on me to learn everything and explain that to people. But it was nice that he was kind of that person for this, because I remember most of it, but he pointed out oh, you got to do this and this, and I'm like, oh my god, I kind of love you right now.
Yeah. Makes things easier.
But
yes.
Oh yeah, no, it's awesome. So shout out for him. It was an awesome Sunday evening, even though it was a little cold, but that's fine. I also got halfway through my Steel Legion unit. I actually have some of them here. Again, just shout out to the community, incredibly generous. I think I got something like 50 likes on this unit.
Yeah, and really good.
Yeah, and I actually think that I don't think I've got more likes on any miniatures ever on social media than that. So, gets me really motivated. I'm playing to maybe take 6 stands of Steel Legion just because I really like the models so much.
That's about what I do. I run 5 or 6 stands, because if you run them less than that,
really?
if you run them less than that, they become target number 1. You just have to take out a couple stands, and then they don't do anything. So you have to have those.
Yeah, they ended up coming in turn 5, and I've only played the Spire so far, and it's funny because, first glance for newcomers, the Abomination is scary, but really what I'm afraid of are the Brutes. And Josh took a big block of 6 of them.
Man.
Oh my god. I'm just so...
That flurry, and then you run them in big groups like that. You got to feed them that militia. Be like, here, you can kill these things.
Yeah, so...
yeah, keep them busy.
Yeah, so I only run a one warband list right now. I'm not sure if it's optimum, but that's kind of what I'm shooting for right now. So I'm taking an officer, a naked officer. He's got no upgrades. I'm taking, I think it was 5 blocks of Steel Legion. I put the officer in with the Steel Legion, which I don't think was the smartest idea. I think I'd rather put him in the Men at Arms. And then I took a block of 6 stands of Men at Arms with the command options. So I took the leader in the standard. I took another block of 5, and I took the chapter mage, who I'm still iffy about. I took the fire dart and the kit. Wait, what do you think of the chapter mage?
They're common. You're either going to see them with fire dart or you're going to see them with the tears to heal. Pretty much all.
Yeah, I don't think I truly maximized it, because I also took what was it, Kindle Resolve, the one that increases your resolve by 1.
I mean, that's not bad
well,
either.
Yeah, because
for those things, it's just that the common use is the fire spam or the resurrection, because those are the most potent.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about experimenting that. And I think I took 3 or 4 stands of crossbowmen. I ended up having, like, when I wrote this list, I think I have 60 spare points. And I'm not really sure where I should divvy that up. I can get like another stand of crossbowmen. I definitely kind of want to put Bastion probably on my officer.
Bastion on the officer. So he's not bad in the Steel Legion, because you can boost their defense up.
That brings him to defense 4, right?
Something like that, which is really, I mean, good. The downside is you're losing high quality attacks up in the front, but with the way the retinue system works and the magic items, you can make beastly Imperial officers as well. So the other one is putting them in. I don't really put them in Men at Arms, because Men at Arms have a seasoned veteran that gives them Bastion. So I don't need the Imperial officer to go there. That's just my own personal.
Oh, interesting. Okay, you just gave me ideas. You just added more to my to buy list.
That seasoned veteran is a unit upgrade, and it gives them Bastion. So and mine will have that. So they'll be defense 4 Men at Arms, and they're there to go park on an objective somewhere. So you want 5 or 6 stands. They have to be able to last a little bit. And I like the household guard next to them, because that's more of the offensive unit. That's the the halberds. They've got the cleave, and they've got with the noble lord, they're boosted. Their clash is like a 3, so they can do some damage.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I was kind of gonna put off my army list till last, so why don't we come back to that? So obviously we got a lot going on, but yeah, Chris, I wanted to talk to you about the Underspire, and it really seems like it's kind of the biggest contribution to the community. Am I safe to say that, Johnny?
Yes, I would highly agree.
Like outside of the company itself. So again,
I mean, not only is there articles and videos, he also does the tabletop simulator. He provides that for the community.
Yes.
So, I mean, what more can you ask for?
I know, like, dude, I can't even believe all the stuff you're able to do. So I guess let me ask you, what made you go like, you know what? I don't have enough to do. Why don't I just make a website? Why don't I just paint all the models, upload them to Tabletop Simulator? Like, when did that spark go off? I have to ask.
I've always done this. I was a big content contributor for Games Workshop games for over 20 years. So I have done this literally for over 20 years. I have a whole bookshelf full of campaigns that I've written, websites that we've done. That's just what I do. I'm a game designer. I just don't get paid for it. I have to work, for real. But I do video game. I write video games, and that's how I got into my profession. I would be doing this anyway. This is just something I do. I'm writing an army builder right now because I want to. It's a tool. Actually, it's not just to be an army builder. It's a tool for the statistics I use. And it's actually going to be something else that's going to tie into a game I'm writing. But there's always a reason why I do it. But it's usually my own personal private projects that I share with people.
Right. So what is it about Conquest that kind of makes you be like, yes, this? Why not another game? Why not Games Workshop? Why not Kings of War? Why not Song of Ice and Fire? What about Conquest just seems to tick off those boxes.
So I did a video, and you guys can check it out. I'll summarize that video here, but I did a video where I rated all the fantasy games that I've ever played, from most god awful to awesome, and why. And it's like a 45-minute video. So
I feel I played
the dense version. I started wargaming in 1989, and that was with
the
Battle.
year I was born. If you're
there.
curious,
I'm old now. But in 1989, I was introduced to heavy metal music and wargaming and D&D and girls. So that was like, the big year for me. Yay. So BattleTech, if you're not familiar, is a very crunchy game. It's super in depth, and like I feel like the immersion in there, like I'm in that damn cockpit, And I got into Warhammer in the mid to late 90s when I was in the Army. And I'm a big fantasy guy. I prefer fantasy over sci-fi anyhow, but those are the old school games are what I came up on and what I liked. So as and I was a tournament gamer for like 10 years in the aughts, from like 98 to 2007 or whatever. That's all I did was tournament gaming. But I watched Warhammer march along and be modernized. So maybe it's because I'm old and I'm screaming at the kids to get off my lawn. But they took the games that I loved, which had all this character, and they streamlined it to make it like a board game or card game. And there's just something about me with war games, like, because in the Army we had what we call sandbox games, and those were like super in-depth war games like Advanced Squad Leader, and that's the stuff that hooks me. So the more you streamline something and dumb it down, I don't like to use that word dumb it down because it's not an insult, but it's I'm a game designer. I understand what the whole point of it is. It makes it more accessible, but it also turns me off. So the more risk they start taking out of games, they started doing that with Warhammer. They started making things like all reward, and I just started to get repelled. And then Age of Sigmar came out, and I had sunk probably over $10,000 into my fantasy collection over that. Not just that, but painting all the armies and everything I'd done. And they made this game that I would not have touched with a 20-foot pole, but I had all these models for. So I played it for a few years, but I couldn't really get into it for a bunch of reasons. I couldn't. It's not me. So I was actually going to do Kings of War, and we had it all set up. And then I saw Conquest at Adepticon in 2018, and I walked by the display, and I was like, "That looks awesome! Tell me about your game." And they didn't really have. I mean, you could play it, and they had some rules, but I didn't know much about it. I knew that the models were awesome, and they were using the Tabletop World terrain, which I have for my table. Looked really great. So I followed it, and then they released the rules. And so the rules for Conquest were written by Alessio, who wrote Warhammer 6th edition. He's part of the old guard. And the rules are, to me, a combination of that old Warhammer that I loved with War Master, which is my favorite game, with some unique things like the alternate activation and the card-based stuff and the reinforcement lines. So those are all unique. And so they took my favorite things and like bundled them together and made a commercial game for it with awesome looking models. So Kings of War is fun, and I rank it really high. And I would play it if Conquest didn't exist. That would be what I'm doing now. But Conquest wins because it's actually got a world. I know Kings of War does, but it's Kings of War is
it's a work in progress.
Well, and its main target is, hey, we didn't blow up your world, and you can use those models here. That's the main.
Mm-hmm. I often refer to it as the refugee game, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what it is, and Alessio wrote that game too, and it's great. But Conquest has a unique world, has a unique look. It's got like that dark fantasy thing going for it, like Dark Souls almost in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's like heavy metal in game form.
Yeah, and heavy metal is one of my favorite things. So that's why. So when I saw all that together, I was like, this is my game. And I know it's dangerous to jump into a new game because, Rune Wars and all the other things that come and go. But I'm like, whatever. I'm not enjoying myself with what I'm doing over here. In fact, I'm miserable. So let's do this. Let me feel like I'm 20 again and excited about wargaming again. And that's kind of why I picked Conquest.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're both in similar boats. Obviously, I'm the baby here. But Warhammer Fantasy was my first and one true love. I like to say every gamer has their game, right? For some people it's Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer 40K, World of Warcraft, Doom. Like they just had that one game, and that was it. And after that went away, a hole in my heart. I was thinking of giving up on wargaming and all that. It wasn't actually until I started playing Song where I was like, why am I so upset that Games Workshop isn't doing this? Like, there's so many cool things to play, right, and there's so many options. Like, so I kind of just dipped my toe into everything for a while. When they released Conquest, I ended up buying the Founders Bundle. I think it was like you got a starter set, you got Steel Legion, Men at Arms, and you got a T-shirt. The T-shirt was the turning point, in all honesty, because it's a beautiful shirt. And no, I feel you on that on a lot, and no, it's great because I also feel like the biggest thing for this company is it really feels like when they do their videos, they're enthusiasts about their products. They're not trying to sell you the model kits. They're trying to sell the world, and how you kind of immerse yourself as your own thing.
Right.
So, yeah. So I guess we'll just kind of. So at what point though? All right. So you're like, all right, Conquest seems to be checking all these boxes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to attempt to make this my game. Where do you even start with the Underspire? Like, were you just mostly doing it for yourself? Was there a community there?
No. So the reason the Underspire came about was, number one, it's a brand new game, and you're trying to promote the game, right? So I was a Vanguard. I want to promote the game, but where do you go to get information about the game? We can go to their website, but their website didn't really have a lot of stuff from my perspective, like what would help hook me. I mean, it was cool. They had their background and stories and stuff, but there wasn't like a solid community presence there yet. And as like the Discord started out and the Facebook group started out, it was like it becomes a shotgun. And new players are coming in all the time, and they're always asking the same questions. They're like, well, where do I go to learn about this? And how do you do this? And tell me about list building, and tell me about all the factions. And they ask the same questions every day over and over and over. And so I was, the Underspires became, to me, it was like, we need a place just to consolidate all that. So a player, and it's got to be something player driven, not community driven. I like, or excuse me, not official. To me, like, it's the community sites that help promote the game, quite a bit. People they go see it. It gives everyone, it gives whoever a voice. Like, anyone can write for the Underspire. And that's the whole point of doing it. It's like, I want to hear from people. I want you to do videos. I want you to write content. I want you to write campaigns. I want you to write cards. I don't, make terrain generators. I don't care. Let's put it all in one place, and let's have a place where we can go to like look up articles and stuff, instead of it's just this Wild West and we don't know where everything is. And that's just my personality. That's just how I am. I like to have that because, like, okay, BattleTech's a great example. I got back into BattleTech about 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm like, I have no idea where to even start with this game. There's like a billion books. Where do you start? What's this tech era thing? What's all this stuff? And no one can really answer those questions. It's all like the shotgun. And you have to be really good at Google, and even then you're not gonna really find your answer. So that's what I wanted here.
Yeah, I mean, that's so awesome, and it's just like not every place has this, right? Like, we talk about something like Kings of War. Like, I don't think the community really has anything like the Underspire. I don't really think like A Song of Ice and Fire has anything like the Underspire. Like, what you did, I think, is just so cool, and it's such. I feel like you've made, next to Parabellum themselves, you've done the most for people, and
there's a growing group. There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Stuff for it though.
Yeah. So let's actually talk about the whole growing of it. Because John, you kind of been sitting here listening to me interview Chris. Has
No,
there
that's
been any update on kind of the New England front? Any stores
So
recent?
yeah, we got so we probably got 7 to 10 shops now carrying the product over the last month and a half. We have there's a handful, 2 in New Hampshire, Adler Hobbies, Midgard. There's some in Connecticut now carrying, Quincy, Mass, Fairhaven, Mass, Danny down at the Armory. I've just been going around, you know, I'm not good at the stuff that Chris does, so in my mind, I kept asking myself, what can I do to contribute to the community as well? And I'm definitely good at talking and, passionate. Yeah, passionate about the product and all that. So, I've just been picking 2 or 3 stores every week and just dropping by because I know a lot of people in the community. I don't think I've been gaming as long as Chris, but I've been in probably 20 years maybe. And I've worked for a handful of companies. Megacon Games, they did Mercs. I worked for them for a long time. I did some little bit of work for Corvus Belly and a couple other game companies. So I have a lot of rapport with a lot of the stores all over New England and even outside of the area. And so I've just been going around, like I said, trying to get it fired up, and do my part. Like I said, I don't have computer skills and all that. And Chris,
we all do our own thing though. That's it. I don't like running events. I don't like demoing. I'm just not a people person, to be honest. I'm the guy that when I try to run events, they're like, man, he's a dick. That's my personality. And I own it. I know what I am. But like so I do the computer thing, and that's my contribution. You're on the front lines. That's huge.
Yeah, even demoing, I'm not this big I can demo and all. I'm not a super rules guy like Josh. Any games I
know
get
Josh
into,
is so good. I know.
Yeah,
Josh
I pull him in.
He's like, I'm here for the name. I just got here for the name drop. I'm like, thank God, because he's so awesome for that. And I can't get over that enough.
And tournaments, I'm not a huge tournament guy. And guys, let's just get that right out of here. This game is so awesome, and if you must win at all costs, that's fine and all that, whatever. But just be cool, man. Keep the game freaking great.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I was having a thought because again, Josh is such a super heavy rules guy, and he jokes and he's like, "All right, daily question number 8." kind of thing, and he goes on to Microsoft Paint and he makes all these scenarios, and he took some photos of our games and all that.
Oh, he's going to ask all those questions all the time, right?
Yes,
that's it.
And wait, let me state this from his own mouth. He's not doing that to be a metagamer at all.
No, I know. I know what he's doing. It's awesome.
Yeah, he's trying to get so if let's say him and you hook up, Chris, to play the game. He wants to play it like the way it's intended to be played.
Not my version and not your version.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's why I say what it is awesome.
It's so good,
He's not trying to be a rules lawyer or whatever. It's like, hey, these things came up that could come up, when I'm playing Bill, and I just want to play the right way and not whatever way we have to dice off for every time.
So
Exactly.
Josh actually has something to say. Somebody has to keep Johnny on task. There are times I should forget to mention rules to him, otherwise he keeps winning. And that's the great part about Twitch is the fact that people can call you out live on stream.
Exactly.
Oh man. So yeah, I was thinking because to an extent, this game is almost kind of now I don't want to say this as kind of a way of I don't know, putting any negativity towards the game, but it really feels like this game is almost in an early access or beta still.
It's first edition. It's first edition. Maybe
I almost feel like it's even pre-first edition. And
I was
a lot of
Kings
it
of War First Edition. Kings of War First Edition's a lot like this. It was just like this.
was it okay. So I'll take your word on it. But it seems like they're still trying to figure out the rules. They're kind of releasing stuff in piecemeal, or at least they're intending to. But they're going by a lot of community feedback. And
yes, which is huge.
And Chris, you probably have more experience than me and Johnny both combined. How do they do, like, with listening to the community? Like, how well do they respond? How quick do they react?
Well, so like a good example, going up into May or this spring, the Dwagon were just gross. So like once we had the tabletop simulator stuff going, we started getting people playing. You started seeing like these gross builds, like their sorcerers are just like tabling people in like three or four turns. And I was like, I can't do any tournaments or anything while the rules are like this. I mean, it's pretty bad. And like immediately they're like, all right. And they looked at it and they came up with a fix. Actually, the community had come up with like a list of house rules, and they even used some of those, and they came up with the fix that ended up being what they used. So I would say they're very receptive to the community, but at the same time, you have to look at it from their point of view as well. And I know this from a game designer's perspective, because I did the first point system for Age of Sigmar. It was
you were one of those.
I was called it was Azir Comp. And Azir Comp, so we had a team of like, I don't know, we had over 1,000 reports would come in. And balancing that, I thought we did pretty good. But as an example, I had one guy, I had two people send me things. They're like, and I know I'm getting off tangent, but it relates. Chameleon Skinks, they're like, how you did this was awful. They're just so powerful and you didn't cost them enough. And like literally an hour later, another guy writes me, Chameleon Skinks, they're just so awful how you did them. They're too cheap. So they basically, it was two different people. One was like, they're busted because they're too cheap. And the other one's like, they're busted because they're too expensive. Right? That's the thing you have to be aware of with any games. Now you go look at video games, it's the same way. It's like, oh, the developers are awful. How do they not see how busted this is? And Parabellum's hearing that too. It's like, well, this is broken. But is it really broken? I don't know. Maybe. The thing is, we haven't had true broken yet. We haven't had a tournament season, and that's where things get busted.
Yes.
So they have to take things with a grain of salt. Just because a few people say it feels broken doesn't mean it is. It just means it feels broken from their perspective. You have to get deep down. What is this person actually after? Like, people will say Household Knights for 100 Kingdoms. Oh, totally worthless unit. They're crap. They're poop. I wish they didn't come in the core box because they suck so bad. And you have to go, well, what are they trying to do with them? And you watch a game with someone who says that. They're trying to use them like shock cavalry. They're trying to jam them down someone's throat, and that's not the role of that unit. They're not good at that. And so because they're not good at that unit, they're like, oh, they're horrible. That's not what they're used for. So you have to always go, show me what you're talking about. It's broken, show me why. Give me a battle report. Show me the scenario that you're talking about specifically that highlights what you're saying. Because otherwise...
Yeah, and did it happen once? Or did it happen more than once?
Was it a bad dice throw? Oh, I threw a bunch of sixes, and in this game that's bad, and so this unit sucks?
Yeah. No, and one thing I like...
That's not how it works.
One thing that I like what you do on the Underspire too, in some of your videos is you break down what the unit should be used for and why,
Yeah.
Like you talked about the Dwagam, the fire cannon dudes. The name just escaped me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how people, they're automatically going to march up the field and try to like catch people on fire and all that and flamethrow them, when that may not be successful for most opportunities of that.
Right.
I thought that was the whole point of the army, is you just march forward until there's no more enemy.
They're
right.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, Chris, what army do you play normally? Like, do you have like a main army?
So when I bought into the game, I wanted to demo it. So to demo it, I bought the core box, and I painted both sides. And then I got the Dwagam and painted that, and then I got the Nords and painted that. So now I have 2,000 points of all 4 factions painted. If right now my main is 100 Kingdoms, and the only reason that was because no one else in my area wanted to play them. So I was like, this, I want, as a person trying to demo this or trying to build a community, I don't want someone to walk in and see like 12 Dwagam players out of 18, because that's what we had. We had it was grossly all dwarves. And I didn't want that. I wanted to have some offset. So I'm the guy that plays. I'm the guy that goes, okay, what's no one playing? All right, I'll go play that.
Yeah, that's me as well.
I don't mind the 100 King. Actually, I like 100 Kingdoms. I like the human aspect of it. I can relate to that. I wanted Nords to be my main, because I'm big into like Norse mythology, and so I know I love all that stuff. So I would say Nords are my ancestral main right now. The one I'm really waiting for is the Old Dominion, because I am an undead or chaos type player at heart. I like the dark Baroque armor, the horns, and
yes.
When I saw pictures of the art of what the undead are supposed to be like, these Byzantine Romans with the big head crest and the angelic look, yeah, that'll probably be my main, because I love that. But
yeah.
I can't answer that. The only army that I don't feel a connection to really is the Wadrum. That's just not me. But they look great. It's nothing like, I don't think they look bad. It's just not I don't feel it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm feeling a strong attachment to the 100 Kingdoms. I really like playing human armies. When I was a fantasy guy, I was Empire through and through. Yeah. And I don't know, man. It's just like, I kind of think about doing Nords, and it's like I hear about these steampunk Romans. I'm like, that sounds cool. And whenever my mind thinks about, getting that second army, I'm like, no, but I could get Household Guard. I need like at least 2 more boxes of militia. I need all this. So I don't know. I think, the 100 Kingdoms might be just my jam. And
British game, you've got First Blood. So you can always buy a box of Nords or whatever to play in that.
Yep.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Gosh. So I guess at this point we can just kind of chat about whatever we want. But I guess actually backing up a conversation ago, I want to talk about, the playtesting and how they react. You know what this is like, what the whole process and how Parabellum's reacting is kind of reminding me of when, and I don't know if you're going to take offense to this, Chris, because I know you said you didn't like games becoming streamlined, but this is reminding me of kind of like D&D Next, like that kind of phase where a lot of people were like unclear about rules. Like they're like, our character sheets are so blank. Like, what are we supposed to do about this? But then it came out with 5th edition, which came out to be, the most popular version of the game. It's, it's a lot of people's favorite editions, actually, including myself. So, it gives me a lot of hope. It gives me a lot of hope. And I think it's important people give their feedback, but, just don't say everything sucks in your army and your army needs a boost.
Well, they're going to say that. That's what people do. As a game designer, they're watching what I just, what I said. It's like, okay, it sucks, but tell me why. Give me some more input. Show me why it sucks. If you could show them why it sucks, they're probably more receptive to what you're saying.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So I guess I'm gonna go into my army list then, because Chris, you're good at the game, and I tied. My one true game. I'll air quote true game. So yeah, I believe I had 5 stands, Steel Legion. I had the leader, standard. I had the officer. He was naked. I had a block of 6 stands of men-at-arms, leader and standard. I had a block of 5 men-at-arms, no command, and they had the chapter mage, who had fire dart and Kindle Courage, I think it's called.
Okay.
And 3 stands of crossbows with no command, and I think my list had about 60 points to spare. So what would you recommend I maybe spend those 60 points on? What could I change around?
So naked officer, the officer is kind of poop other than what he brings to the table in terms of units. But that's why you get those items in those retinues, and that makes him something that's formidable. So I definitely think you need to look at retinues, masteries, and some of those items that he can take. Because you're going to
anything,
not
anything
off
off the top of your head? Yeah.
I don't. I still kind of honestly play whatever looks fun to me. But I like Dave Richardson from the UK, one of our vanguards. He has a couple articles up on the Underspire on Under Kingdoms builds. So actually, there's another article I think I have to produce. I should do that soon. it's waiting to go out. He's got I think he had like 3 builds for an Imperial officer, and they're all I mean, they're awesome, and they have different roles. So definitely check those out. Those items, those masteries make a big deal. They make him a big deal.
Okay. All right. That's cool. So now I'm also thinking, I either want to build a second army list, or, I want to make that leap into 1,500 points.
Yeah.
So I have the contents of 2 starter boxes for 100 Kingdoms. I got 2 boxes Steel Legion. So I basically have that army list. I also have literally 12 stands of knights because there was a sale going on at Troll Trader where it was $8 or $9 for a box of knights. So I grabbed a couple of those. Is there anything I can do with that? I do have a unit of bowmen as well.
Well, just to throw some considerations out. So based off what you got, I use Militia Bowmen a lot. Number one, it's an alternate activation game. So the more activations you have, the better off you are, especially if you're going against elite armies, because you have a better chance to react to what they're doing better. Those Militia Bowmen aren't there to do anything spectacular. If they kill stuff, it's like a bonus because they're volley 1.
Right, yep.
But what they can do is they can escort things up. They can block reinforcement lines. They're super cheap for what they do. They're very optimal because of their low cost. I would have at least a couple units of those just for that purpose alone, and then put a priest in there or something. That's just something I like to do. I put my priest in with my militia right now.
Yeah, how is the priest? Because I mean, from a fluff standpoint, I'm like, it either seems like you're pro orders and Imperials, or you're pro nobility and the church.
You can do a lot of things. So like in my background, which I wrote a whole book that's on the Underspire. It's like 90 pages of background of my army. But the priest is there. The priest and the noble lord actually like each other. The priest is there to watch the noble lord to make sure that he doesn't try to become emperor, basically is why he's there. So he does. I mean, they have the background open in so many ways that you can justify anything if you just sit down and take 10 minutes to do it. Really, it is. The priest, I give him the fire ability just because it's the most useful, and it's pretty nasty. So I like that. Your question on the knights. Knights are. I always use knights. They are not a shock cavalry unit, though. Their job is not to go run things down like anything you want. Their job is, number one, they're really fast. For the things you've got in your army, the knights are really fast. And you give them a standard bearer, and now they have was it a 17-inch movement basically? I think they're movement 8. And they get to reroll spell charge just for having the standard, because that's what all standards do. So they have that, and that distance, that greater range of movement gives you more board control. Number 2, their defense 4. So think of them as really fast heavily armored troops. They can get onto points. They're medium, so they can score. They're there to sit on an objective and tank it. Number 3, with their speed and their impact hits, they can mow down light units. And I don't mean light the weight class. I mean lighter defense units. If you get them into a flank or a rear, they're a threat. If you're playing Spires, and Spires got those annoying marksman bow guys, they're going to try to gun your knights down first because they know those will kick their ass. So right. Knights are very useful. And then the other thing I would say you definitely want is Household Guard. Household Guard and Men-at-Arms are what I call platform units. It means I build my army around that platform. So Men-at-Arms are on one side, Household Guard are on the other side, and Men-at-Arms are there to tank, and Household Guard is there to spank. So,
yeah. Okay. No, that's good, because that was actually my next question is if I was looking to buy some of the newer units, do I go Gilded Legion or Household Guard, but I was actually, after kind of weighing the pros and cons, I came to the conclusion Household Guard is probably the way to go.
So I did a thing on them. Gilded Legion's nice. Gilded Legion has better armor, so they're more defensive, and they're more elite in their attacks. I think they have a better clash, and they have a better resolve. But I think they're the same point cost, or roughly the same point cost. They're also a heavy, and that's the difference. As a heavy, they're going to come in later.
Right.
They're going to come in later to camp on an objective. Basically, that's their job. So if you want, they're a tank unit that actually has bite. Like men at arms don't really have bite. I mean, they can kill stuff, but they're not. That's not their job. They don't have cleaves. They're going to have to be very choosy in what they fight. And as a tank unit, you don't really get to be choosy because you're there to hold something. So you're going to take charges. So I think Gilded Legion have a place, and I'm going to use those. But Household Guard men at arms will always form the core of my 100K kingdoms. Those two units, and then the militia around it. So that's always going to exist in all of my armies. And then you're always going to see a unit of knights somewhere on the side. And especially once those whatever they're called, the squires, mounted squires are nasty. When those come out and the bowmen come out, we're going to have ourselves an actual threatening army because we'll have range. We'll be able to reach things. That's the thing we lack right now.
Okay, yeah, no, I kind of came to that conclusion because really it was between medium and heavy, and I'm like, well, I'm already taking like 5-6 blocks of Steel Legion, so I don't really need. I really shouldn't take another heavy heavy unit.
There is an advantage to taking multiple heavies, and people are starting to do this. If you have multiple heavy units, you have multiple dice you're going to throw to see if they come out, not just one. Just one unit of Steel Legion, you're just rolling 1d6 and hoping you roll a 5. If you have Steel Legion and Gilded Legion, now you have 2d6 and you're hoping one comes up as a 5. So you can get that unit out there faster.
Right. But I guess as of right now, playing 1,000 points, maybe thinking about leaning into 1,500. Like I'm gonna stick with the Steel Legion, but I think the Household Guard was kind of what I was thinking, and you kind of confirmed that I should get that on top of some militia bowmen. So yeah. So we got about 20 people in viewing the stream. Does anyone have any questions for Chris, Johnny, or I? I know my friend Brett, who is kind of my go-to friend when I play these games. Yeah, he wants to spam marksman drones. What would you say to that?
That's the competitive Spire list is basically that. It's lots of marksmen. It's a unit or two of the Vanguard infiltrators because that's gross, and it's mostly a gun line. And it will mow down a lot of things. The only thing that I've seen that can handle that is the Dwegum. That'll change once 100 Kingdoms get some range. And I tell you what, once the Nords get those trolls, you're going to see a lot of Nord armies show up because you're going to have the trolls and you're going to have Stalker models suddenly counting as bow chosen, and you're going to see some fun. I've had to play that army in Tabletop Simulator several times, and they're really strong.
Nice.
Yeah, Johnny, do you have anything for Chris? I feel like I've been asking him about my 100 Kingdoms. What about your angry fire beard guys and your 3-day-olds?
Well, for the Spires, I'm still working around stuff. I'm not a spam list guy, so if next time we play, I'll have probably some different units, but I'm not gonna research into building lists that can annihilate. I prefer the have a beer and roll some dice kind of games personally, but and the Dwagam I just got, so I'll pop on. I think there's some articles on Chris's Underspire about them there. I'll pop on and check that out just to see what's going on there. That's about it for my stuff going on as far as list building and all.
So Josh actually has a question. So he says, our meta along Massachusetts and Rhode Island is curious. Where's the sweet spot so far for the game size? Do you have a feel for the number of characters you take in 1,000 points?
We started at 1,250 points, and we stayed there for a while. We boosted to 1,500 points back before Corona shut us down. and the goal
Yeah,
was to slow it up. So I don't know about 1,000 points. I think 1,000 points is a different game altogether, really. It's a very swingier game at 1,000 points because you have very little on the table, so it doesn't take destroying a certain unit can really just end the game. Whereas in a bigger game, that's not as much of a thing. So
Right.
I would say at 1,000 points, I would probably run 2 characters. I would have like my main warlord, and I'd have like a support character, like a mage.
Okay. All right. No, that's good, and that's actually a pretty fair question. So, and I feel good about myself because I came to that conclusion on my own with no help,
Right.
except for the stuff you've made. All right, and then we got. And when are you jumping up to the 6x4 table, or is 1,500 still on a 4x4?
For me, once we got over 1,250 points, we stopped the 4x4. We went to 1,500, and some of the guys were on a 4x4, and it just felt too clogged. It was just like 2 big lines just smashing into each other. And
There's no room to kind of wheel and maneuver, right?
No room. We had a couple purists that hated that because they wanted to just stick to 4x4 because that's what that's what the scenarios were. And they did their thing. For most of us, the vast majority of us, it was about 1,500 points. We moved out to 6x4 to be able to use those flanks. The disadvantage and you'll hear people talk about this. I don't consider disadvantage, but it's the counterpoint, which is valid. The reinforcement lines the reinforcement areas are wider, which means they're coming in from the side, and you're taking a unit out of the game for a turn as they have to get into position. Some people hate that. They want their unit to come in and immediately be useful. And on a 6x4, you won't have that immediate usefulness, other than like super fast units like knights or something. But like foot troops coming in from the side will take an extra turn to position themselves. So you have to keep that in mind. I'm always for both, so I wouldn't be opposed to playing a game on a 4x4 at 1,500 points every once in a while. I don't like doing the same thing over and over again. That
Right. Chris, do you think we'll see like? Sorry to jump in, Rob.
No, go for
do you
it.
think we'll see like catapults or trebuchets or anything like that for 100 Kingdoms?
People have asked about that question. I don't know because they have not mentioned anything like that. I mean, we have cannons on dragons. We know that's coming.
Yes, we've seen that. Yeah.
So I would say that anything is possible. I would say it won't be anytime soon because it's not a part of the army list now, and they're trying to get the 4 factions out. So anything you see like that would probably come later.
Right, of course.
I'm working on a siege campaign. That's the next part of my campaign is a siege campaign, and that will have those things. But that's my stuff, so it's not official.
Right.
So what do we actually know that's coming out? So we know the Wardrune. Have we seen more than the dinosaur riders?
Yeah, they had
like models.
Yeah, they had. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I'll just say they had those renders of the foot troops, the raptor riders, and then they had like some big dinosaur thing with like an elevator going up, and there was like a shaman or something on. I
it has an elevator.
It looked like one of those like raised platforms. Yeah.
Yeah, like a rope and a.
Yeah. So they had drawings and renderings of those. We don't know when those are coming out. We're supposed to get a big November. Well, it is November now. I forget what month it is. This month we're supposed to have a big announcement, and I think that's the Q1 release schedule and what we'll expect. That's my opinion.
Yep.
And
I know that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I know that coming up in January, we're gonna get some First Blood stuff coming out. Some army boxes for that, and I think some maps and tokens might be coming down the line for those too.
Cool.
That's what I've heard. So.
Tokens. I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and
right.
I guess the game does need them. I mean.
Yeah. No. Actually, that was one thing is just I was like I have no tokens. I was prepared for my game for everything but tokens, and I was like
And everybody wants to know, like, where can we get the wheeling tool?
Yeah, the wheeling. The
Yes.
mythical wheeling
Yeah.
That was your fault, Chris.
tool. The wheeling tool is nothing more. It's an arc of. It's called an arc of sight tool. Arc of sight. It's used in Kings of War. It used to be used in Warhammer Fantasy. It used to have tick marks on the side because it was a wheeling tool. Now it's just primarily to see if you have line of sight, but it's the exact same tool. So if you measure, and I've seen people, we have local guys that will cut them for you. And if you just measure the ticks, you have a wheeling tool.
Yes, like I ordered one from a historical company called Warfare Miniatures USA.
Mm-hmm.
They do a game called Underneath the Lily Banners, and they use it for their game. But they're sold out, and I guess the laser cutter they use for it is in being worked on at the moment. So, but I don't know anybody else that has them. GF9 did do them. I don't know if they still do though.
Yeah, mine was from Gale Force 9, but I don't think I know they don't do them anymore.
Yes.
All right. Anyone in chat still have any questions? Well, for us, while we're here, we'll give it a minute. I guess we'll chat and hang out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, it's super cool to be doing this. Yeah, Chris, like literally this is the first time I think I've ever had an interaction with you. You're super easy to talk to, man. Like
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
he's been
I
very
also
helpful.
Yeah, also it's funny because you're like, oh, I don't like people, I like computers, and it's like, I see you are also an introverted war gamer. And what a weird thing that is.
We're everywhere. Yeah.
Are we?
I'm an INTJ. If you know Myers-Briggs, that's my personality.
Oh, yeah. I'm an INFJ, which is like apparently like
You're
only
right.
one person.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's funny on all that. Is there any word on the Dino Orcs being released? I think we already. What did we say? November, or is it going to be Q1 of next year?
They have not given a date at all. So it is entirely possible they'll come out in November and be like, hey, these are going to be out for Christmas. I mean, I can't say that that's not going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. What I think is going to happen is that announcement in November is going to be, this is the next batch of stuff coming out. Here's your units for the 4 factions plus the Wadrum, and it starts in January. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, they're gonna push those Christmas bundles, or those holiday bundles for Christmas, and then start over on the new year. We're gonna get the next wave. So do we actually? So I know Song generally when they release an army, they do it in pairs. Do we know if they're doing the War Drune in pairs, or are they just gonna be their own thing? They're gonna get a handful of stuff, or are they gonna kind of release some stuff pretty close back to back?
If I had to guess, it'll be like the Dwagam and the Nords. So they'll come out with hopefully more than the Nords. The Nords were in a rough spot for a while. I would guess 4 to 6 unit boxes and a couple characters. That's a guess. So anywhere around there. And then that'll be like their initial release. And then the second wave, which will probably be spring or summer, they'll get like everyone else. So it'll be a couple things. That's a guess. That's based off of what it's been so far.
That's the tinfoil hat theory.
Right.
My tinfoil hat.
I need to start, like back when I did, Warhammer 40K podcast, we actually made tinfoil hats for tinfoil hat theories, and they started getting more ridiculous. Like I had a full-on like samurai helmet with like the mask I'd put on. So we're like, it's tinfoil hat time, guys, and then like they would just get more ridiculous. Like I'm pretty sure one person had like a Crusader helmet made of tinfoil and all that.
Actually kind of cool.
No, it got ridiculous because we were all trying to one up each other consistently, and it was a good time. So Chris, do you want to give any shout outs to any players, any stores?
Well, our stores and everyone's closed and we're hiding from everyone. So
where are you at, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in Louisville, Midwest, okay. Ohio Valley. So most of the players here are very social, so they don't get on Tabletop Simulator. So I haven't seen a lot of those guys in almost a year now.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
Which sucks.
Now, are they gaming in stores near you at all or not at all?
They are, but it's not. So the guys who play Conquest, almost all of them will not play any public games. We've done a couple things. So I've done a couple games outside in my backyard when it was like 1 billion degrees out, and now winter has come, so that's probably not going to happen.
Exactly.
A couple of the guys have done outside games too. The game stores were locked. Were basically all the 40K. The 40K guys were like, we don't care about Corona, and they were just down there playing. Right. And then a couple of them got Corona. They recovered. They're healthy. They're good. I'm not laughing.
Yeah.
It was just funny because a lot of them were like, in the beginning, like, this isn't even real, and then they got sick with it. But that's kind of been the gaming that I haven't been inside a game store in a long time. It's been 6 months.
Right.
Oh wow.
Ish.
Yeah. Wow. I want to give a shout out to Danny and the Armory in Fairhaven. They're doing a demo day Saturday, so if anybody's close to Fairhaven, Mass, it's going to be a good time. Capacity is 25 people, and I know I haven't been to the Armory in a while, but Johnny, I know you said that Danny's very good with, making sure everyone has hand sanitizer, everyone's.
Yeah, he has all the tables spaced, according to the rules and regs. He has hand sanitizer there. I think he provides masks too in case anybody, happens to forget. He's taking all the precautions down there.
I'm hoping they get something resolved for this soon, because I'd like to actually do conventions again and see you guys sometime in real life.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Actually, Danny does a convention, and I think he's doing one next year.
Right? Yeah, hopefully.
Which I think that'll come up sometime next year. And if things are safe, then, I don't know if they're going to be that. I don't know. Who knows what's happening?
Yeah, who knows exactly? Who knows? But I would like for that to happen. I miss Adepticon. I'd even do Las Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
I never been to Adepticon. I would like to go to that.
Adepticon's great.
But I've been to a bunch of others, Gen Con and PAX and.
Gen Con's great. See, I live 2 hours south of Indianapolis, so I get to do that. Chicago's 5 hours from me, so.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go to the Formula One races in Indianapolis when that was a thing. So.
Nice.
Yeah, I actually like the city. So Josh says, well, from the rest of us, thank you for all the effort on Tabletop Simulator Mod and options for us to playtest stuff online when we can't get it to our local game store. And yes, I know this is kind of the thank Chris episode, but man, it's just like, I don't know if anyone's openly said thank you so much for all the effort you put into it, and I'm putting you over strong, brother.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I love the game. I want to see it grow. And it's a group effort. It's all of us. It's you doing what you're doing right here. It's Johnny going out and promoting on your stores. It's all the vanguards that are watching this or on the website doing their thing. I mean, all of us are what are going to make this game successful.
Yep. And it's and it's important that we still stay enthusiastic. We still buy a model kit once in a while, just to make sure support your local game stores. Buy gift cards.
Yeah.
Try and get your paints that are there. I know Danny offers pickup too. Like he'll put outside and do the exchange, and you can do the actual transaction over PayPal and all that. So it's just so important, guys. Support your local store. Just
if you don't support your store, you don't have anywhere to play. That's where you.
Yeah, play. And it's funny. I've talked to a bunch of game shops, doing what I've been doing the last month and a half, and they all say that they're really shocked at how the community's pulled together and is actually coming by and buying things regularly to keep them open. Which kudos to that.
So I'm going to ask one question, because I'm going to ask this every single episode until it becomes true, is do we know anything about the RPG coming out?
No, I haven't heard about that.
No update? I'm still going to ask it every 2 weeks.
Right?
That sounds amazing, because We could get like a Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds campaign
Yeah,
going.
I mean, honestly, truth be told, if I can expose, partially my selfish motivation is I want to get their attention because we play D&D Fridays at 8:00 with some of the most talented role players I've ever had the honor of playing the game with, and like I'm so excited for this. And I was like, oh man, it would be so cool to have these super creative people I play this game with, put them in the setting and just watch us do amazing stuff.
Right.
I would love it. I would love an RPG set here. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and as obviously this streaming community grows, I'll definitely also run a game with people in the community. So you two can be players. Yeah. I'll DM. I'm calling it now. I'll DM.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm used to the DM, so it'd be nice to be a player once.
Yeah, right.
No, I know the feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the book itself is going to be absolutely gorgeous too. I mean, the artwork is phenomenal.
Plug, shameless plug. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So we just hit over the hour mark, so I think we'll wrap it up for here. So again, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. I know it was kind of kind of a last minute for you to come on. We were originally going to get Danny on to kind of promote his local event, but unfortunately things come up. So Chris, I super appreciate it. Sure. So where can people follow you? Do you do like the social media? Obviously the Underspire.com.
The Discord, the Underspire. My Facebook, I try to wean myself off Facebook because I don't like it.
Yep. Nope. I feel you.
But and I normally don't just friend request everybody because I always have to cut. Later I'm like, who is this person? I don't even talk to them.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm in the Facebook group, the First Conquest group, and Discord. So
yeah, you're even in our New England group because that's how important you are. You just have to be
right.
Groups that aren't even relevant to you. All right, so I think we'll wrap it up. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll be back not next Wednesday, the Wednesday after for our next episode. So everyone have a good night. Everyone stay safe, and keep working on your hobby progress. So
thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Thanks, John.
Thanks, guys. Take care, man.
Yeah.